Hey, is this thing on? Are we recording? Can I get a tech person? Oh, for the love of ed tech. Joining us today is Jenn Smith, who is a technology teacher at Cincinnati Public Schools, teaching technology to preschool through 6th grade. So we would like to say, hi, Jenn. How are you?
Hello there. It's so nice to be here today. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. We're excited to talk to you about all the wonderful things that are happening with you and your students and your staff. What made you decide to go into educational technology?
My principal at my school was like, you do so much technology in your classroom. It was also a right to work state. So, like, you were always worried about your job. I got my ESOL certificate, my gifted, I got my technology and my master's. And honestly, I was just using all of those things. And it was a really big school. There was probably like 9 other second grade teachers. And I was kind of the one to do technology. So they might have really good ideas, and then I could be able to incorporate that in. Like, we had Promethean boards, so I would make all of the flip charts for math and science, and so everything was really cool and interactive with the things that they've taught me. And my principal was like, you know what? We need a new special. I thought of you. And I was like, I just don't, I really like working with the kids. I like that classroom community. And she's like, you have this opportunity. If you like it, then you have this. And if you don't like it, then I'll save your second grade position. And that was like a really like, oh,
Wow.
well, if it's just a year, like, I guess I could try it out and see if that's something I'm
Yeah.
interested in.
Yeah, what a great
It
opportunity.
was really cool. And I mean, but I will say my first year of teaching tech, I was supposed to get a cart of iPads and they didn't come. And so I literally was teaching technology with the Promethean board for half the year. But I will tell you, I found like Skype in education. We like did mystery Skypes. I did like everything that you could on Skype. We like did the virtual field trips, and we had like these amazing guests that would just come in, and I would just like, you had to do it before, like a month or two advance to make sure that the times all align for your time zone. But I mean,
Yeah.
I was glued to it just like the kids, because it was amazing to hear
Yeah.
these extraordinary people from all around the world.
And this is all with just your Promethean board. Like,
No, any smart board or any kind of like
you
projector
could use
outside
your
of like a
projector.
wall.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
kids don't have to have devices to teach tech or to integrate tech. Because I think a lot of times when people think of tech, they think, well, that's an iPad or
Well, what's really funny is fourth grade in Ohio does inventions and like learns about Ohio inventors and learns about, and then in sixth grade they learn about technology and the background of technology. And it's so interesting because when they're all little, they're like, oh, technology is obviously something with a battery
right.
and it has to be on and off. And I'm like, no, but it doesn't. Technology is also paper, it's also pencil.
Right.
Like, someone had to use this idea. So when you're in my class, it doesn't mean that we're always going to be using computers or we're always going to be using some kind of electronic
Right.
device. Like, I can teach you with paper pencil. Like, it's not, does it have to be one of those things? Well, and then even like the concept of design and like inventing things and like their creative process, that like, even for coding, like there's all those unplugged lessons from code.org. You don't have to have a, and it's still
Right.
technology.
Yeah. And a great way to like dip your toe into something if you're not confident. Some of those unplugged lessons are really approachable for anybody. For
Oh, they're
anybody.
so easy. I mean, and they're fun too. Like, there's one where it's just you, and I think I saw it at the OECT, the Ohio
Mm-hmm.
Technology Education Conference. It was just like, it was making a bracelet with your binary code,
Yeah. Yeah. How
your
fun.
initials, and like that was one of the unplugged lessons. Was you just have a pipe cleaner and you have beads, and you use the beads as like, this is your binary
Yeah.
letters, and it's just something easy and
I think
creative.
codes and ciphers and stuff is a great way to get started. And people don't think of that. Like you said, they don't think of that.
as technology, but we're building those skills and those thought processes and making those connections that we're going to be able to build on as we dive into coding, or we dive into engineering, or we go into PBL and we're trying to figure things out. I think.
I feel like the good way to transition teachers that are not comfortable are just presentations. They're really used to kids like researching or finding information and sharing what they've learned, but giving choices is really big with getting to each kid.
Yeah, just giving them some different options. So, while we're talking about giving them different options, tell us a little bit, since we're podcasting, about how you used podcasting with your second graders. So, this was before you were a tech teacher, right?
Yeah, so when I was just a classroom teacher in second grade, a big issue for me is I had a lot of English as second language learners, and they were very hesitant to share or read out loud in front of others. And some of the kids were just with their writing of understanding that you would a lot of people write like they would talk and
Yes.
it's okay, or how you would write your sentences. Well, especially in second grade, they're still learning how to make sense. So when they would read it out loud, and that was like one of my strategies, I would read out loud what they wrote and go, okay, does that sound good? Does that make sense? Because hearing it from someone else, they may go, oh yeah, that word doesn't go there, or that didn't make sense.
Right.
What would I do to change that? And so I had Audacity, which is a free website just to record your voice. All I needed was a laptop, and I had a headphone with a microphone on a mouse. Honestly, after that, it made me not fearful for the kids to do it by themselves too. Because I would have the little record button, and I'm like, you just have to press that button, and then you can read your story and press stop when you're done. So in the beginning, I had felt like I had to be there every single time they were recording their story. And then came fun for them to do, and then they ended up collaborating with each other and making stories in scripts.
Wow.
Like they would make their own little play. I was shocked as a second grade teacher because I thought, well, if anything, just a good way for them to read.
Right.
But then I incorporated it with sight words and things for assessments for me,
Yeah.
because doing 101 is so hard when you have a whole class. There's always someone that gets up and asks a question,
Right.
and it was just easy for them to just read their sight words or read their little script on their and then I could analyze it later. And in parent teacher conferences, I would play it because some parents were like, "Oh no, my kid knows how to read all of these things," and I'm like, "Well, I'm seeing that there's some issues with like these kinds of words." And then I can play that to be like, see what I mean? This is what I'm talking
Right.
about. And it was a good, like, I'm not ever arguing with parents. It's just kind of one of those, like, I just want the kid to be successful.
Sure.
And I just want to show you kind of what I'm seeing. But then the podcast became really fun because I say podcast, but really it was just like a lot of snippets of the kids reading. They were reading books, or they were like, they started doing their own writing, and then they were reading books of their choice because it became like a centered activity that two kids could do it at once and they could decide what they want to do. But I had a library of books, and back in the day when we had our little listening center, had a CD player. And so then I took those recordings of kids reading the book, and I even had adults come in, like the principal. I had like a special reader, and they all recorded their voices reading a book. And then I would just burn it to a CD and then put a little CD pocket on the back of the book. And then if the kids wanted to borrow it, or if they wanted to use the listening center, they could just pop it in.
Oh, how cool.
And it ended up being like a once a week thing. Like I just asked like one person that works at school to be like, hey, can you just read this?
So, Jen, how, as a classroom teacher, do you learn how to work alongside your students?
I think as a classroom teacher, you get so bogged down with all the things you have to have done. And I feel like every
Yes.
year there's something added to your plate and not taken away.
Yes.
Mhm.
They just feel overwhelmed. And it is one of those things that if learning something new, they're learning it with the kids. And it's
Right.
just kind of one of those, you just can't be scared. Just do it. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is it was a bomb lesson. And you just go, you know what? It didn't work out. That's okay.
That didn't work very well. And I think it's good to model that too.
Absolutely. I've hung up on the kids on accident where I was like, oops, I pressed the wrong button and I came back in. We just kind of laugh about it and go, see, it happens to me too. It's all right.
What's something you would like to learn more about or implement in your classroom?
Like, I kind of want to do like videos. I keep saying I'm going to do it and I haven't. Where I like give, my teaching lesson on video and then edit it so then they can watch it at any time
Yeah.
as much as they want to kind of keep going. And I keep saying I'm going to do it or record it and then I don't do it. And I'm
You're going to do it. It'll happen. We just talked to Mike Corcoran about
I
that.
mean, for all teachers, you think like you do the same thing all the time. You repeat yourself so many times, but like even for me as an adult, I'll go to a YouTube video and like do little like steps and I'll have to stop for you to do it. Or I'm off track and I can't come back, and I'm like, I need to do that.
That would be good.
Yeah.
It is daunting to get started, but how nice would that be for you to just have that little lesson library ready to go?
Right.
I know that a lot of teachers use Google Forms, but how do you use Google Forms in your classroom with students?
I had third graders make quizzes for each other, and which was also hilarious.
That's
Oh, I bet.
But
fun.
it was a fun way for them to learn Google Forms. And I didn't tell them that you could add video. I didn't tell them. I showed them how to do the picture, but they also saw that you could do like a YouTube, and they like would put things like, what was a video? I've never heard of the artist. It was like young kids rapping, but it was
Yeah.
clean and it was cute.
Yeah.
And she's like, do you like so and so? And it was the band. And you had to say, like, yes, no, I don't know. And then, like, some of them would add, like, paragraph writing, like, questions, like, what do you think about this?
That's
Oh, wow.
awesome, though.
Or, like, who's your best friend? And, like, put everybody in the class or, like, the teacher, or which was really hilarious to see. But that was a fun way because then it got them to, like, think about how to make a question. And some of them made like
Right.
sections and they added things if they wanted to. I mean, but I feel like I always give like the most basic requirements. Like you must have these things, but then they always go above and beyond.
So, Jen, what is one educational technology tip, trick, or tool that you feel like other educators should know about?
We got a subscription to Cami probably mid-year, and that was a cool too because the teachers were so used to like worksheets or like having them write something and be able to send it. I learned so many different things that you could do. You could put a big PDF file, just say I want this one and this one to share. Even with the adults, like I would just show like a couple things for your signature. Like we had IEPs and you're like, how do you sign this? And it was really cool to be like, oh, I can just insert signature and literally use my touch screen to draw my name and save it and then just send that or add it to that PDF of the IEP so that everyone can sign it, because paperwork for those teachers is just insane.
Yeah.
So when I learn something new that will help other people, that excites me because I'm always trying to, like I said, I always feel like as a classroom teacher, there's always something added to their plate and not taken away. So to find a tool that is very useful for them and makes their lives a little bit easier,
Yeah.
that's exciting to me. Like,
It
ooh, look at
solves a
this.
problem or makes it easier for sure. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so that got exciting. Oh, so the newest thing was just because I had taught on WeVideo, which is the video editing website. But honestly, any video editing that you can make a little GIF, you can add all of your little badges that you get from the education website. So I always tell my teachers it's so good to use the actual platform. So let's say Clever, it was a website that we use, and it's really easy. but there's a Clever Academy that the teachers can go to and do one step at a time. Not only do they add CEUs that they will help them renew their license, but you get a little badge, a little thing that you can add to your email, or like just to be like, hey, I got this sticker, kind of like
I
Girl
did this.
Scouts, like,
Yes.
you've done this. And I got obsessed with those when I was very excited to be like, I got Google level 1, Google level 2, I've got Cami Trainer, I've got Clever Trainer, Flipgrid. With making a GIF, you can add each one of those little badges in a GIF and then put that on the bottom of your email.
Thank you for hanging out with us, Jenn.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our discussion today. If you like our podcast, please don't forget to subscribe to get notified when new episodes are released.
For more information about our podcast and to access links and resources referenced in this episode, check us out at fortheloveofedtech.org.